Good morning and welcome to Hot Seat. My guest is Jay Scheidler with Emerging Technologies at the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. Jay, good to see you.
Thank you for having me this morning, Scott.
Well, what are emerging technologies? And you folks work on recruiting those to Oklahoma and expanding those in Oklahoma. So help us understand what that term means.
Yeah, emerging technologies in the state of Oklahoma is a very, very broad stroke. You know, one of the areas that we are focusing in on is data center recruiting and also with AI recruiting. But once again, it's a very, very broad stroke and broadening the environmental or the impact that it can take here on our state from employment opportunities and helping our state grow and thrive.
Now, we've seen the capital expenditure that some of the big tech companies are making this year. We've been watching the discussions about chips and facing off with China and the things that DeepSeek did. All of that's in the financial pages. But from where you're at and where Oklahomans are, how important is it for us to be competitive against the Floridas and the Texases and places like that?
Yeah, just geographically where we're located in the United States gives us an advantage. Our resources that we have here in the state in terms of availability of power and our power grid and the natural resources, natural gas that take to actually energize some of these data centers really puts us at a competitive advantage against other states out there. We're fielding about 5 to 7 calls a week from large companies as well as smaller companies that are looking to invest in Oklahoma and to possibly put data centers and something in emerging technologies in the state of Oklahoma.
You talked about the grid. One of the things that the governor's been clear about, he wants an energy abundance. He wants all taps open, including wind and solar. How important is it to have wind and solar and the green technologies, green energies in recruiting against the states we're working against?
Yeah, absolutely. That conversation is continuing, and like we've talked about before, we produce 65% more than we consume, and a lot of that is in wind power and wind energy, and so that is an attractive piece to a lot of companies that are looking, throughout the United States for opening up new locations. But it's definitely an area of focus that we have conversations on of the abundance of energy in our state.
The tools that the governor has, are there more things that he needs when he's working against these states and and you folks are putting the best foot forward to come here, like in Mays County or in Payne County, things are happening there. Have we got all the tools we need?
I think at the state level, we definitely have a competitive advantage against some of the other states. I think it really too comes down to the communities and in that social license to operate within those communities, whether it's infrastructure or workforce. And we work hand in hand with those communities to really attract those businesses. And as you know, I mean, a lot of the data centers go into rural, communities and smaller communities. And so I think that we definitely have the toolkit to help attract these large-scale projects.
There's a lot of discussion right now on a power source called behind the meter that the legislature is discussing. We've had Jason Dunnington, who's been watching this, understands it. Will try to explain it to us from your standpoint, all right, from a recruitment standpoint. What is it, and help us understand how important it is.
Yeah. So behind the meter is actually, not being tied to the power grid. So independent supply of power to run operations within a data center. And I know that's on the legislative floor right now, and it's really just kind of getting clarity around the language that would allow an independent business to not be dependent upon a regulated power source. I think it's very, very attractive for the state of Oklahoma. Once again, we are open for business, and we're welcoming and entertaining the idea of a large capital investment, upfront investment from a business to take place here in the state of Oklahoma. So, like I said, I mean, it is a upfront CapEx expense that I make sure that a lot of these companies are making sure that it is going to be a business model that will work for them, if they are going to be off the grid and behind the meter.
I recently saw a map superimposed on the island of Manhattan of a data center that's going into Louisiana. They're enormous. Help us understand what data centers do and why they're so large and how much energy they consume.
Yeah, it's very energy intensive, and consumes a lot of power. It could be 100 megawatts, it could be 500 megawatts, it could be 1 gigawatt. And so the power dependencies is really around what's inside the building, and we're talking racks of servers that could be used as a hosted solution, or it could be a non-hosted colo facility of independent businesses that are renting space to run their applications for their end users, or for individual applications that are publicly facing around the world. So basically think of it as a centralized location of where traffic flows in and out to consumers that are consuming that content.
You're in emerging technologies, so we understanding about data centers, we keep hearing the word AI. Yeah. Are there other technologies that Oklahoma is well positioned to recruit in besides just data centers?
Yeah, I mean, something that's very coming to light is advanced manufacturing and the AI use and the digital cloning that's going on. Whether those are in specific industries of automotive or if they are in biotechnology. A lot of these companies are actually creating digital clones before they go and put the manpower into actually producing their production rate. So they're doing test runs and trials with these digital clones that actually take a lot of computing power to get to a finalized product. And so that's why there's such a high demand for those use cases of the adoption of AI in that technology.
We talked about the energy sources and the communities wanting these in these places. Our workforce, is it well aligned with what you're trying to do at Commerce?
I absolutely think so, and where we're headed, not only with our major universities that we have here in the state of Oklahoma, but also the career techs that we have throughout the state of Oklahoma that can really help get that skill set ramped for AI adoption and technology adoption. So yes, I believe that we are on the career path progression for really lining up our education platforms to meet the demands for employers to come here to fill those roles and responsibilities within those jobs.
You folks are excited about this particular time in history and where things are going. What do you see in the next 5 years? There'll be a new administration in 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Is this a sustainable path in terms of where y'all are headed with this, with the data centers and the emerging technologies?
Absolutely. I mean, as you've seen over time, this is a tried and true industry that has a growth rate of 5 to 7% year over year. Not only from the hardware dependencies that it takes, but also the supply chain that we have here in Oklahoma, as well as the proximity to other businesses that are in our geographic location, whether it's in Texas or New Mexico and Kansas and Missouri. We've got the supply chain and the geographic location to actually fulfill some of the business needs and requirements to these additional states that brings commerce that can spread throughout the United States as well as the globe. So, I know that, kind of the messaging that we have is, we want to bring the world to Oklahoma and we want to take Oklahoma to the world. We're doing that. And this is a lot of foreign direct investment that is looking at the state of Oklahoma where global commerce can take place. So yes, I think it's a trajectory and it's an area of focus that will continue and will definitely develop here in the state of Oklahoma for years to come.
Jay Scheidler is the Emerging Technologies Chief, the person who's leading the recruiting in this. It's a fascinating industry. We're reading about it every day, and it's happening right here in Oklahoma. Thanks for being with us, Jay.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks for watching Hot Seat. See this again at news9.com and news6.com. Follow me at Mitchell Talks.